Hi there, Randy Green here. It is August 14th, 2021, and welcome to the first official whole student podcast, which is aired and uploaded on whole session website, and it's not going to be out there publicly. So this is only for ears only for the ones that are doing the whole classes. Okay, and what do I mean by that? Do I mean by the ones that are doing it out there, the free classes? No, I'm actually talking about the ones that have gone quite far into the studies. I assume you have listened to the videos I did upload on YouTube, kind of as in finalizing many years of work into an understanding of what was the original idea with the whole project Blue Flower. And what was it I was trying to crystallize into all of these teachings and videos, and in the meantime being enormously derailed and pushed around, and we have all suffered from this. So it's about focusing on, okay, where are we going and what is necessary. And I know it appears as if what is necessary changes, but this is where you need to look at our reality as a sort of pattern, where we are working through different layers. Remember, the new grind cycle is chewing away, and as it does so, it activates different layers, activates different timelines. And if those of us who are doing this work and are supposed to do this work are not grasping these timelines, well, then the activation potential will be lost, and the genetics connected to these timelines and whatever was part of us and that reality will cease to exist, evaporate, and be erased from the library. And that's the process that's going on now. So what we will end up with will be, naturally, if you remember from the new grind cycle, transition course 1 and 2, we will be left with the 1-7 pillar, where we are to master the template. And I am technically working towards that one. I think, or not think, I know that the last piece of what I will give of classes within the progression work will be template classes, or whether it would just be for self-study or will be as a group class. I'm not sure about that yet, but I will give what we'd call the last version of the template sciences for those of you that will reach this level of potential and will be able to work with the foundational pillar, which is the 1-7, where you'll learn to work with energy system, template structures, and code sheets. And those of you who will catch the wave of the 1-7 pillar, which will be at the end, more or less at the end of this century, more or less. I'm still pondering upon if I'm going to write a book about it, and I know I put the dates in the new grind cycle transition classes. I'm deliberately not saying it here because I want to force you to go back and look through that material and see how far we have gotten in the activation cycle, reread the material, and understand that you must work more efficiently. And with that one, as always, I am here to push you further. I am here to say you can do better. I know many of you are doing the best that you can, but I must tell you, you must do better. At least if you want to achieve any possibility whatsoever to catch the waves of change, to catch the original fourth cycle that is being made ready for us and that is possible for us, which will be what I will focus the template work on. The minimum requirements to get into the original cycles of the holographic metaverse in whatever state that we are capable of. If it's just sending one little viable original holographic metaverse genetic back through the gate system, well, then that's what we're going to do. And I can tell you the original gate systems are, I'm constantly renewing their energies and ensuring every single day that they are running and they are working in alignment with the new grind cycle, and they are also helping to chew away a lot of the different programs that are not supposed to be here from the races that are not supposed to be here. So that is going on as well. But as that moves further into it, meaning that these programs that they have inserted to ensure this reality, its continuation, even though it was unviable and were deemed failed a long time ago, well, that will also mean that a lot of other types of potentials will fall around us and cease to exist, and things will collapse within these technologies and the artificial fields they have created. And the last part that has begun this dismantling process now, not just the old world order technologies that began falling apart in 16, but as you know, the Greys and some of the races that were here created what they called the event, and they got integrated via this artificial matrix overlay system into our reality and artificial program that has upheld it so far. That is beginning to collapse now. And let us put it this way, there are now an enormous pressure from the surrounding galaxies and surrounding races to begin to push energy our way that will make that program collapse. And as that happens, things are not going to be more easy. So why am I telling you this? To freak you out and to make you go into complete panic and run around and don't know what to do? And I'll say, no, this is what you need to do, because this is a matter of mastery. And I have presented the whole Project Blue Flower to you, so you have some kind of schematics of what you need to nail and where you need to focus your energy every single day, and that is whole living. These 6 levers are what you are to do every single day. These are the 6 dimensions of a lived life inside this reality you are to master. Because if you master the basic 6th dimension and combine it into a synergetic 7th, which is the whole living, you will also have the basic steps that will allow you to work with the original 6th dimensional composition our Earth grid is originally part of. Remember, our Earth is a conglomerate of lunar grids from the lunar system, which is what's left is the moon, and Martian grids, which were drawn here as well, and merged into the original Earth grid, as you remember from the Source of Humanity. I'm here not talking about Earth as we spell it today, but the original Earth grid that were part of that planet that used to be part of the Jovian system. And that's a 6th dimensional system. So that means we are to work on 6 levels of what it means to be human, to present the lowest version of what we could call a progressive living inside this reality. And that means that your nutrition needs to be in order. That is, that you are in control and you understand the energies and the nutritional value of what you're eating. And that means you have studied it, you have studied general sciences on the topic, and you have listened to different people having come up with good ideas, and from that you have derived via your intuition and via the understanding of how your body is composed what your body needs, and you're giving it to it every single day. It is part of how you live. You set time for the correct cooking, for the correct production of the food that you need, so your body works in the best way possible, so it gets what it needs, and you energize the food and you purify the food and you ensure that what you get is the highest purity rate of what you can give yourself nutrition. It must have as high energy rate as possible. And that becomes enormously important, because that is to, if you eat something you have not energized with your specific type of code system, with your specific type of holographic energies and your specific type of light quota, you will ingest lower vibrational things that are connected to other systems, to other grids, to other parts of reality, to whoever has produced it, whoever is behind the production of it, which is also why you cannot, or you can, of course, but you must ensure that what you eat is as little processed as possible, narrowed down to very, very few items. I would say perhaps 3 processed items, and then make sure that it doesn't exceed that one. So this demands a lot of you when it comes in terms of your nutrition. So if you haven't nailed that one, that is the one to begin first. And that means study of food, study of nutritional value, figuring out what your body needs, energize the food, work with it. Don't just put it into your mouth and think that it will help you. It will not, because our planet is being depleted. The original programs are falling apart. The original energies from where anything is connected, the timeline event energies are falling apart as well, which means that the nutritional value of all what we eat is getting less and less, which is why you must amplify it before you eat it, so it is in alignment with your own physical energies. Otherwise, you will feel depleted, you will feel tired, your body will need to use energy to break down what you are consuming, and by that you're using energy instead of getting energy. So this is one of the most important parts about nutrition. I could say more to that one, but you must begin working with this and not just do what I say, so to speak. You must discover this on your own. You must have a relationship to what you eat, not through human value system, but through scientific, holographic, energetic understanding of that this is about you actually amplifying the food so it is in alignment with your physicality, because your physicality still needs some kind of physical matter to compose what it needs to compose. It's built to compose energy, it is built to consume energy, it is built to intake energy, and that also means food. I know many of you have memories of not eating, you think you don't have to eat, and I can only say to you, this is not my conviction, this is not how I see things, but of course you can prove me wrong. But just to get it all clear, it has not in any ways or forms, in any of the things I have seen, in any things I have experienced, or in anyone I have worked with, those of you who are thinking about all the fasting and all these kind of things, I have not seen that to be an upside. I have not seen that to be a force in this work. On the contrary, there is a mastery in learning to transform the food that is part of the original Pleiadian project and the original Pleiadian project of the plants on our planet and what they were created for. And this is what I want you to learn while you work with your food and while you transform the food that you are having between your hands into a high vibrational state, from where you will begin to tap into the original understanding of the planetary grid and how this reality was built. That you get through working with nature, through working with food, and through understanding nutrition, and through understanding your body and how your body works. And by closing that down, say I'm a breatharian, or I don't have to eat because we didn't do that to begin with. You're completely not seeing who you are, where you are, and the situation you're in now. You are dreaming yourself away from the facts, and you're pretending that you're something else than you are. And I know you can say fake it until you make it, but on that one, you will not get me convinced that you're right. On the contrary. Okay, so with that one said, you of course as always do what you want to do, but if you're going to take a discussion with me, this will be my answer. And since I've been discussing this for the last 10 years with people, I'm not going to change that one. It is just, I'm completely cemented in that level of understanding. Okay, your day should also be holding some sort of exercise, minimum 1 hour of some sort of activity, whether you vacuum the house or clean the windows or whatever you do, there must be minimum 1 hour of some sort of physical activity, so that you also have an understanding that you are a physical form. You are not just to sit in meditation or lie down in energy work or float around in some sort of bubble that you don't have a physical form and you don't have to take care of your physical form. Of course you do. You are physical matter. You need to transform the physical matter. It needs to burn off kinetic energy. And what you eat must be processed. It must be transformed into some kind of metabolic transformation system, which is also an exemplification of you working with energy, transforming energy as you work with your food, not just preparing it, but also energizing it. And while you eat it, and do it slowly and in observance, you are also observing what it does to your body, what processes it initiates in your body, and how your body breaks it down, and what's good for the body to break down. And as so also, when it's the right time for you to exercise, what type of exercise is necessary for you, which body type do you have, what do you need to do, because when we're talking about energy work, and this is not just the what we could call the secondary effect of your food or the secondary effect of your exercise, but if your body is weak, if you don't have the muscle structure to do metabolistic straining exercise, so to speak, that your body is able to breathe, to push in enormous amount of energies, to push out enormous amount of energies, to go beyond what you think is possible, this will be a barrier in your energy work, because there you will constantly both strain your body, so to speak. Energetically speaking, you might lie down and do energy work and you might think it's not straining you. But as you go beyond and into the other levels of reality, if you should get so far, you will discover that this is enormously energy consuming. And if you don't have the right nutrition, if you haven't got a strong body, if you're not drinking enough liquids, well, then enough water and what you need to do to have a healthy body, your energy work will be hereafter. It will never really peak into the high vibrational states of energy work. And that is why many of you have to lie down while you're doing energy work, or you have to sit still, then you can do energy work. But the top is actually where you get into being able to do energy work while you're doing high intensity exercise. That is where you really nail it, because that is where your body will be really breathing, and you will be high in energy, and you will be using your body, and you will be exemplifying the energies into the physical reality. And at the same time, you pull in an enormous amount of energy from above, integrate into your physical form, and by that, being able to really master high levels of energies, and at the same time also perform high levels of energy in the physical matter. So that is another transformation process that is also synergetic. Then we come into education. Minimum 1 hour per day in some sort of education, whether it's reading the Bailey books or it's doing a Coursera.org or Coursera.org, sorry about that, Coursera.org education on some selected topic that you find of necessity for where you are now. Constantly educate yourself in all levels of reality, not just one focused area, but within all sorts of understandings that is necessary to master this reality and to understand what is going on. And I am very grateful for Coursera and what they have come up with, because I have been looking for that angle, for something to support that enormous amount of knowledge that you need. And these are quick courses. These are built up by scientific members of the scientific community, and they're doing a pretty good job in that one. So you can get high quality information in an easy way, and not just what you find out on YouTube, which of course could be from some of the universities, but these are just the typical semester lectures that can be perhaps a little bit too long compared to how many hours most of you have got for this, especially if it's over a complete semester. And many of you will not complete these courses because they will demand too much of you compared to the compressed time we have for this. At the same time, of course, base program education, spiritual education, progression work education, and of course what you need to qualify yourself to become a better worker in whatever you choose to become a better worker within. Which leads us to the business or the projects. Those of you who are not working, you can have some kind of project going on, whether it is rearranging your garden or painting a picture or whatever you come up with. It must be some sort of creational project where you align your thoughts and your creational potentials into some sort of physical manifestation as well. This is all about from what is inside must be exemplified in the outer reality. If you have your own business, you will have the same creational process, making your own product, figuring out how it works, educate yourself to get to it, figure out how you're going to do that, and all of these steps that leads to product making, which is part of a business. And we now have the avenue, which we didn't have before. We have it within what we call sustainable energies, renewable energies, or regenerative ways of doing business, which means there's a whole new avenue, there's a whole new market that is growing out there, and you just pick and choose in whatever within that scheme of understanding of where you want to go with this. And if you don't know what that means, well, look up SDGs on Coursera.org and do the classes that are being offered there. There's a lot of good information out there already from different businesses that are showing how they are doing this sustainable developmental work, from what we could call transition from what we call the way they used to do business into this new way of doing business. The same with psychology. You need to know the basic levels of psychology. I've given you most of it, and I'm also doing a little roundup in the whole transition classes, where I'll just put the latest in psychology, merging it all together. So there you'll get most of it. I'm also recommending certain courses from Coursera in these classes. Not that I'm utilizing them in that manner, I'm just recommending them as background information or further study where you can learn more. And I can only recommend that the more psychological insight you have, the easier it will be to, again, take this knowledge and then push it into the progression work, which, as you also know, you already got a lot of it from the whole basic psychology courses. And after this rounding up in the whole transition courses, then it leads into the 1-7 pillar work, which is the goal of the progression work, where you learn to completely work with energy and consciousness and code sheets, which is necessary for whatever we will engage in the future. Because at the end of the day, those of us who are going to go into the fourth cycle in the holographic metaverse, we will only go there if we know how to get there. And that cannot be taught. That is a piece of work that you have to do on your own and figure out how to do on your own. So all of these petals in the whole Project Blue Flower is all about the base program version of what you need to know in the 6-dimensional structure, which goes in alignment with the 6 pillars that used to be part of the pillar project. So you have got the highest level of information which you need to implement and put into your everyday life. And at the same time, you have now got the complete understanding of the 6 pillars within the base program, so that you create the 7th synergetic whole living, where this is what you do every day. And when I talk about progression work, this is where every single other ones, the nutrition, the exercise, the education, the business or the creativity projects, and the psychology, you will use the rules, you will use the principles, and you will use the original laws of natural energy utilization. So this is how you're going to bridge the 6 higher layers with the 6 lower layers. So you can technically say that the base program, nailing it through the whole Project Blue Flower, you will then have built the basics that will lead you to also begin to integrate the pillar project into your everyday life, because the pillar project is, and even though the sciences that are what we have got left, we have not got the workstations, we have not got the technology, but we have the knowledge. And those of us who are part of the original Earth project and were part of the original projects that were going on in our solar system, we will remember this knowledge. So by exemplifying these 6 basic petals in the blue flower into a synergetic whole living, will be you showing that mastery in the base program, from where the 6 pillars easily can be lodged in and create the highest synergetic 7th highest above and lowest 7th below the whole living, with the progressive living. And by this merging the blue flower with its pillar project equivalent, which will be the complete merging of these 2 oppositions in you. So what I'm here saying is that while you work with the blue flower and make it part of your everyday life, you will also create the room from where the original pillar project knowledge can begin to descend. And that you will also do, of course, again, reading the whole project, the whole philosophy book, the whole philosophy book, as well as doing the new Grand Cycle Transition Course 1 and 2, and really get the 7 pillars, or the 6 pillars, technically the 1, 7, 2, 8, and onward and so forth, and then understand that these 6 pillars were to be merged into a 7th pillar that would allow us to transit back into the holographic metaverse. So this is what is expected of you. So those of you who say, I want to do the progression work because I want to get back to the holographic metaverse, I have here told you what you need to do. I've here outlined the mastery that you have to get on top on, and what you need to get to be able to do that. And with that said, and there is more to come, of course, but this is the overview, and this has always been the plan. It has not been possible for me to make it that clear, because as in this work, it's always an unraveling work of getting back to the original knowledge and the original capacities. But hereby given you why I have made the whole living blue flower, or the whole project blue flower, and it has now been explained both here and there, here a little bit more in depth in alignment with being a whole student, and why it is necessary in terms of connecting it to the pillar project knowledge, which of course we will work with further down the line in whatever forms that it is possible for me to recreate it so we can use it in our current situation. And with that one said, I think that suffices for now. And what do you say? In Denmark, we kind of say, have joyous work, some sort of have a good work day or something. So that was kind of what was on my mind. But of course, do your very best and do even better. That is all I can say. And I know many of you have got complicated lives and there's a lot of stuff going on. But as I have said all along, this is a matter of prioritizing. This is a matter of choice. And this is a matter of making it happen. And this is a matter of choosing a lifestyle that allows to make it happen. And of course, at the end of the day, it all comes down to how strongly do you actually believe in this. That will also, if you're kind of having reluctance or resistance on certain areas, look in and say, why is it so difficult for you to get the food in order, for instance? Why is it so difficult for you to get the exercise in order? What is blocking you? Why is it not possible for you to achieve that? What do you need to clear to get that one nailed and master that petal? Ask the right questions to get the right answers, to get the right solutions, and then implement them and then exemplify them and make them part of your life, because it matters a lot. It's about bridging work, and you have to master the base program before you can even begin to contemplate on mastering the progressive pillar project programs. Thank you.